Hello besties, welcome to this week's tutorial. This week we will be doing a snowflake peekaboo. We will be using the epoxy method to apply this glitter, and of course I'm using fast set because ain't nobody got time to wait for epoxy to dry. So I've mixed 5 mLs total, and I'm only going to be using not even 2 mLs to cover this whole 32 ounce plump from Steel Magnolia. You guys already know the bigger the better. I love these big tumblers because you have a lot of workspace. For this design, I've chosen 2 glitters. Both are from Backfist Customs. The first one being London. It is a silver holographic mix. It has a little bit of chunky, a little bit of fine, and a little bit of medium cut. As you see, I'm just kind of applying it sporadically over my cup. I'm not saturating it. And you will see why I do this because I'm going to be adding another color, so I want to leave plenty of space for my next color. For my next color, I am going to be using one of my favorites, which is Holy Water by Backfist Customs. I'm going to be using a little spoon just to control my sprinkling here. And I'm going to cover any of those little spaces that I left behind. After this, I'm going to go back with London and just kind of pour it on there. That way I can get every single spot on my tumbler. So just don't be afraid. Just go ahead and pour it on there. The next step is very important. Get a piece of parchment paper or wax paper and flatten out all your glitter just to make sure everything is laying down flat. So let it dry and then epoxy and sand until smooth. You guys already know that I sand after every layer of epoxy. So here you see me going to town, sanding, feeling for any bumps. Don't be afraid of scratching up your cup. It is completely okay. Everything shines back up after epoxy. So here I am just cleaning it off with a little bit of H2O and a coffee filter. So after sanding and cleaning your cup really well, you want to go ahead and weed your decals. Remember, make sure to cut these out on removable vinyl, okay? Don't be like me and use permanent vinyl, and you'll see how much trouble it gives me later. So place your snowflakes wherever your little heart desires on your tumbler. After you've placed your decals exactly where you want them, go ahead and spray paint her. I used an icy blue. Whatever you do, do not be like me. Use a matte spray paint. Don't use glossy. It takes forever to dry. Okay, after your cup is nice and dry, get your power wash and spritz it. Don't oversaturate it. Kind of keep it far away. As you see here, you just kind of want to be strategic as to where you want to spray your cup. Make sure you have your spray paint ready and your hose ready to go. So after you have your soap on here, you want to grab your spray paint. I'm using white flat from Rust-Oleum and just kind of spraying it. You don't want to completely saturate it. You want some of that blue to shine through. You want to spray from far away. So after this, get your hose ready and just wash it off. Rinse off all the soap as you see here. I totally apologize that I'm out of frame, but you guys get the point. I just didn't want to get my phone wet. Sorrow. So after the power wash, I like to take a coffee filter and just kind of very lightly pat it dry. And look how pretty it looks. I love the look of the power wash. Makes it look like melting snow. So now for the fun part is removing the vinyl. So I'm going to speed this part of it up 100% because it took me forever. Remember guys, I use permanent vinyl. Don't be like me, okay? I was going to cut this part out of the tutorial, but it's so satisfying that I just left it. So enjoy. besties, we're gonna do a quick little Cricut tutorial on how to do an overlay, not an offset, an overlay. So this is the vinyl that goes over our stenciled pieces that we take off on our peekaboo. So we're gonna start with a snowflake. So go ahead and size it however you want it. Sorry for the focusing in and out. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I'll go in a little bit. So size it however you want. And then the next step that you're gonna do is you're going to create an offset. So I like to do 0.05. It's already set there. And you're gonna go ahead and apply it. So you see how it creates that little outline? That's what an offset is. So you can, let me change the color so we can see it nice and bright. There we go. So that's what you would do if you were just doing an offset. That would be your bottom piece and your top piece, but we're actually doing an overlay. So we have an extra step. So we're gonna select it, and then we're gonna run over here in this little button that says slice. And then we're gonna go back here and we're gonna separate it into pieces. 1, 2, and 3. So this is gonna be our overlay right here. This is our actual stencil piece that we put on our cup to create the peekaboo. And then this is a offset if you needed it. We don't need the offset, so we're gonna go ahead and X that out. So now we got our little overlay, and it goes on magically on top of it, lines up perfectly like so, and gives it that little extra oomph in your design. I hope this was helpful. Totally unnecessary part of the tutorial, but why am I like this? Okay, so now we're gonna weed our overlays. Be very careful that you weed the right parts, okay? I almost took this out of my tutorial, but I thought, man, this is super satisfying to watch somebody else weed vinyl. So I'm gonna leave it. So enjoy, if not, fast forward. After you have weeded all your overlays, then you can start applying them to your cup. One very important thing here, as you see, my cup does not have epoxy over the spray paint, so you have to be very careful when you place your overlays. Make sure that you use transfer tape that is not super tacky, and make sure your cup is as dry as can be. You can certainly epoxy it before you do this, but I just wanted to go ahead and get them on there. After placing all your overlay decals, then it's ready to be epoxied. I added some glitter to my epoxy to give it some sparkle. This is totally optional, but I feel like it gives it the extra oomph. I used Halo by Backfist Customs. It's an iridescent white that has little rainbow shifts. It is super beautiful. This next step is completely optional. I am going to be using a chunky glitter. This is Platinum Mix by Backfist Customs. I'm going to be sprinkling them on the bottom and the top of my tumbler just to kind of give it a little like snow falling effect, give my design a little bit more bling. Okay guys, look how pretty she looks already. You can absolutely stop at this step and be done with it, but you know me, I'm a little extra, so we're gonna keep on going. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and sand this down really good. You guys already know me, and I sand between all my layers of epoxy. Make sure to be careful around your bottom edges and top rim. You don't wanna sand off any paint or glitter or whatever you're using. And make sure to clean off your tumbler with some good old water. I picked out some more snowflakes that look a little different than the ones that are already on there. As you can see, some are bigger and smaller. You can find a lot of different kinds on Google. That is where I found mine, or you can go on Etsy and purchase bundles as well. Now to place the snowflake, I'm going to place this big one right over that big open space on my tumbler. Don't be afraid to overlap over your existing decals or your existing snowflakes. I think it looks really neat when you overlap on designs. It looks very cool and it gives your design like an extra dimension. So just have fun with it. So after you're done placing your snowflakes or decals or whatever you're going to put on them, go ahead and epoxy it a couple more times and then she's done. Look how gorgeous this turned out. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I cannot wait to see your creations. Make sure you hashtag us MMBX Besties and let people know that you were inspired by us. See you later.